We are Fyi Sci.
We are Fyi Sci.
We are Fyi Sci.
We are Fyi Sci. Bringing science to you.
Bringing science to you.
Bringing science to you.
Bringing science to you.
Today, there is no environment on Earth that has escaped plastic pollution, with plastic even found in the most remote corners of the world. But what is plastic? Plastic is a material consisting of any of a wide range of synthetic or semi-synthetic organic compounds that are malleable and so can be molded into solid objects. Those objects are then categorized by the kind of organic compound that were used to make them. Although the first synthetic plastics appeared in the early 20th century, large-scale plastic production and widespread use did not occur until around 1950, after World War II. Ever since then, global plastic production has grown steadily, with around 300 million tons of plastic produced each year. But what happens to this plastic after we use it? Well, the vast majority of monomers used to make plastic, such as ethylene and propylene, are derived from fossil hydrocarbons, and thus none of the commonly used plastics are biodegradable. As a result, they accumulate rather than decompose in either landfills or the natural environment. So let's look at some more specific data on what happens to plastic after it is produced. It is estimated that around 8.3 billion metric tons of plastic has been produced to date. For some scale, this is somewhat equivalent to the weight of 1 billion elephants. Now, of this 8.3 billion metric tons, only about 2 billion metric tons are still in use, meaning that the rest, or 6.3 billion metric tons, has become waste. Now, the most important data, though, is that of this 6.3 billion metric tons of waste, 12% has been incinerated and only 9% has been recycled. What this means is that the majority, or 79% of plastic waste, is accumulating in landfills or natural environments. Now, while this is without a doubt a global problem, that doesn't mean that we can't do anything here at Pingree to help. In fact, Pingree students and faculty purchase an average of 200 plastic water bottles from the Pingree bookstore each week. While this is obviously only a tiny proportion of global plastic waste generation, the actions of each individual count. In other words, it's not that difficult to recycle.
I'm Mr. Delman, and I'm here with Mr. Wells, who is our Director of Facilities. Mike, when people in the community see recycling being collected, they sometimes see it being all lumped together, and they're kind of skeptical as to if the process is really working the way it should. Could you explain to us how it actually does work?
Okay, when they are put in, they're done with the single stream recyclable, they are taken to the waste management recycling site, and they are separated. The technology is such now that it's just as easy for them to do it on site, and they break it up according to where it needs to go. People have to understand that recyclable goods are a commodity, and it doesn't pay a waste management company just to throw it in a landfill. It is more profitable for them to separate the items and sell them, whether it is to a glass company, the steel to a steel manufacturing, or the paper to a paper mill.
So, in conclusion, when you throw something in the recycling bin at Pingree, it is actually being recycled. And while it can be difficult to think that recycling actually makes a difference, you must remember the scale of the problem at hand. In fact, if present trends continue, by 2050 there will be 12 billion metric tons of plastic in landfills. For some perspective, that amount is 35,000 times as heavy as the Empire State Building. So do your part. Let's make the Pingree community that much more environmentally aware and active. Take the few extra seconds and recycle.